Okay, so we've done our basic arm bar from the shoulder shelf. Now we're gonna hit our basic triangle choke, right? So, it's a little diagonal like this. All right, so we are in closed guard, burrito grip, leg lift, diagonal, come to the hip, control the head, hip, back, into our shoulder shelf, right? So a lot of the time when you get into this position, the person knows their arm is in danger, right? It's pretty apparent once you get put in this position, even if you don't know very much about jiu-jitsu, that your arm is not in a good position. You don't have much control over it, and it's already like almost like binding right there, right? So a lot of the time, person on top gets put into this, they're not real familiar with it, they're gonna try to yank their arm out. When they yank their arm out like that, just let it go, squeeze your legs back together. Now you're in like a very loose triangle choking position. If one arm is in and one arm is out, you're always gonna be in the position where you can finish a triangle, or where you can start setting up the finish of the triangle. So triangle choke is gonna be a choke where I use my legs to compress his shoulder into one side of his neck, and then cut off the other side of his neck with the leg that's tight right here. So I'm already loosely in the triangle choke. In order to finish it, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab onto my own shin here, right? And I'm gonna grab onto my shin, so I'm gonna drop this foot to his hip to help me turn. And that's like helping me control his posture currently. So if I just put my foot on the ground and start turning like this, Daniel's just gonna sit up and come out of my guard. If I'm here and I grab onto my shin and I start turning, try to posture, I can control him with that shin and that hand together, right? So I'm gonna go from my loose triangle here with my feet, I'm gonna reach up and grab my shin, I'm gonna step on the mat, I'm gonna turn myself a little bit to the side so that my leg goes from going down his back to coming sideways across his neck. Once I get to that position where I turned enough where I feel like it's comfortably around his neck like that, I'm gonna take this leg and I'm gonna jump over my shin. So as you can see, I have this arm trapped really tight against his neck while his head is trapped with this leg around this side of the neck. From right here, I'm gonna lift my hips up a little bit, pull his arm across his neck to make it completely compressed right here, and then I'm just gonna squeeze down with this leg, pull on his head. I'll get triangle choke from right there. If you hit that shoulder shelf entrance, a lot of the time the person's gonna naturally put themselves into a triangle. So if you decide that you wanna become good at triangles and you're getting into your guard pretty often, set up that shoulder shelf, and when people decide they don't wanna be arm barred anymore, they're gonna start pulling it out, and that's gonna give you the opportunity to try to finish a triangle. So let's go this opposite direction right here. Here we are, boom, cross, down, stomp, stomp, jump. From right here, Daniel pulls this arm out because he doesn't want to be arm barred anymore. So from right here, I have this loose triangle set up. I'm gonna grab onto my shin, so when I drop this foot to pivot myself, he doesn't posture out. Yep, he's broken down right there. When he's broken down a little bit, turn myself with this foot on the mat. So as you can see, my leg is going like almost sideways across his neck there, right? I want to pick this leg up, jump it over my own ankle right here, right? Just over your foot. This can sort of be an issue, right? It can bend your own foot and it can just not be that strong of a lock. If you're having trouble jumping all the way over here onto your shin, I would suggest that you just keep on turning until you can get full in the person's stuff, until your leg is almost over the guy's arm instead of over his back. It's just gonna make it a much shorter distance that you have to cover. If I'm way down here, I'm trying to close triangle on Daniel, not only is it hard to reach, but like I have to compress his whole body. If I am off to the side here, not only is it a short reach, but I'm also only having to compress his head and his arm. So from right here, I have the lock. Now I just need to adjust this arm across his face, hands on the back of his head, and then I'm gonna squeeze my legs and pick up my hips at the same time. So I'm basically just trying to get rid of all the space here, right? So my legs come together, this leg comes down, my hips come up, I pull his head, I get my triangle right there. So since we haven't really gone over the triangle, let's cover that just a little bit real quick, right? So ideally, the triangle choke, this leg is gonna be right across the guy's neck, right? So I'm not leaving a pocket right here. I wanna like throw my leg up so that my knee pit lands right on the side of the guy's neck. That way, there's no space that I'm like leaving where there's a pocket where the blood can go up into his brain. Because when you do your triangle choke, basically you're cutting the blood off to their brain for a few seconds to make them go unconscious so they don't tap. This leg bites down pretty deep on the neck right here, right? So this side is fine, but we have to deal with this side too. And to deal with this side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna lock this in, and we're gonna try to get pressure from his own shoulder and from his head being pulled into his shoulder and his arm to cut this side off. So this side's pretty well taken care of as long as we have that like smooth bite right there on the guy's neck. So once we're right here, we have to get our hips up, get the arm across, And now his arm and his shoulder are kind of sandwiched between his body and his neck. So the real fight is to make sure that you stay tight here and pull the guy's head down and cut this side off. And as long as you do, you're gonna finish your triangle choke.